to the Ungovernables, the Captain's Crew, the LFA family, and McGroin Nation coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee. That's right, live from the deep red state of Tennessee. On rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy to be back with you on a Wednesday. What a trip it was.
I'm happy to be back too.
Yes, we're all happy to be back.
I missed being on
the
peanut gallery.
Yes, everyone missed the peanut gallery. What a fun couple of days it was. Was that your computer that made that noise or mine?
Don't worry about it. That was fine.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Because I will say this, I'm going to share this just in case something happens. My OBS studio, software updated yesterday, and whenever that happens, it's like anything could happen at that point. But thank you to everybody who crossed over back and forth in both locations. Appreciate it. Filling in for the great Dan Bongino. That was the thrill of a lifetime. It seems like the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive, which is great, and I appreciate that. And it is good.
Making me not do 2 hours again.
There you go. And a big shout out to Misfit for covering yesterday. Did you know that in the history of our show, I don't think anybody's ever covered. I've usually pre-recorded. My thought process going into this one was like, since I was leaving on Sunday, I didn't want to leave you with like a way outdated show. And then I'm sitting there Monday night, and Zach is sick as a dog on Monday morning. And I'm like, oh, no. Like, what are we going to do? What if he can't go tomorrow? Well, he wound up being able to go. So we appreciate him powering through it, because he powered through it and did a great job. And I'm just like, my goodness, like the one time I don't have something prepared, what am I going to do? I don't have any of my equipment. I was not going to be able to record in this, in the hotel room and all that. We used to do those shows. That was a good time. We used to rip off shows in the mornings in the hotels. Those were fun. But we're back live. We're ready to go. And Zach did a great job yesterday. All things considered, too, especially with the, considering he was sick. So that was good. And I don't want to give you like an outdated, episode to say, here, filler, have fun with it. I know. I don't like pre-recording either, guys. So I'm just saying that. I hope you enjoyed Monday with Chase Bowes. We're going to make that a regular thing. His, midterm model is, again, he gives it to you straight. He's a young, up-and-coming, I think, a star in this space. Again, unbiased. He gives you the numbers, so I hope you enjoyed that. If you hadn't watched it, check it out. That was one of Chase's first podcast appearances, too, and he's a great guy. He's local for us. We know him. So a nice guy, and glad to have had him on Monday to introduce him to you guys and gals. But we're back live now today just to prove it one more time. Take a look. The live chat is live. It's right there on your screen. That is all you. You're all here. You're showing up and showing out, and it is time for the Battle of the Century. The Battle of the Century is underway in the Senate. Look, right off the top, I'm going to say this. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic, and I'm not trying to be a doomer, and I'm not trying to be a black pillar, okay? But it is important that we have realistic expectations here, okay? My expectation is, and this is not a hot take. This is not it's nothing like that. I'm not doing it for the sake of saying something controversial. I don't do that, okay? But my expectation is here with the Senate and the SAVE Act battle, it's not going to pass. All right? The numbers just aren't there. The numbers aren't there right now regarding, going to a different type of filibuster. And there are some things about the talking filibuster that may actually work against us. I think it's more of a positive than a negative, and it's better than just sitting back with the 60-vote threshold. I mean, if it were up to me, we would nuke the filibuster and pass this thing. But it's not up to me. It's up to the 50-plus senators that are up on Capitol Hill and John Thune and leadership, and we all know what they're up to, right? But my expectation here is that, and I said this with Haley yesterday, I was like, we have to be prepared, still be upset if and when it doesn't pass, but we have to be prepared for it not to pass. Because the overwhelming majority and the overwhelming likelihood, the overwhelming probability is that it's not going to pass. The Save America Act is probably not going to pass the Senate. I'm not saying that because I want that to happen. I'm just looking at this realistically. So what do we do if and when that doesn't happen? Do we throw our hands up in frustration and we're being sold out and all hope is lost and the Senate's working against the people? We knew all this already. None of this is new, right? None of this is new. That the Senate was working against, the American people, that the Trump agenda was being blocked by rhinos and, lukewarm, half Republican senators. This is not like we can't act like we're surprised by this. I really thought the Save America Act was going to pass. We can't act surprised if and when it doesn't pass. We know that the likelihood is slim. Now, there's still a chance. And, what everyone's been saying is that the quote unquote debate before the cloture vote is put up. What is going on in my eye? The allergies are just kicking in here. Eyeball. The cloture, vote isn't going to come for a couple of weeks. Okay? And so what we have is a couple of weeks now to reach out to our senators and urge them on a couple of things. What did I say a couple of months ago was more important than just having senators co-sponsor the Save America Act? I remember people going, we got 51 co-sponsors, let's go. It's a good thing. I'm not telling you not to celebrate the good things or the little things. But what did I tell you was more important than that? The filibuster, right? Unless we could find a way to get over this 60 vote threshold and get around that obstacle, nothing else, it matters from a baby steps and a little things perspective, but it's not consequential enough to deliver the outcome, the final outcome that we're looking for. Okay? So over the course of the next 2 weeks, is this all for show in the Senate? Are they having this quote unquote debate to come out and say, well, we tried to pass it, but we didn't have the votes. Aw shucks, right? And the point of the matter here, folks, you've got 2 weeks, make a lot of noise, make a lot of posts, talk to a ton of people, and have them call, contact, and message your senators, Republican or Democrat. Republican or Democrat. For example, I spoke about this yesterday on the Dan Bongino show, briefly towards the end. Jon Ossoff, the senator from Georgia, who won his term in the fraudulent 2020 election cycle, right? He's up for re-election. Folks, I'm just going to say this. If we can flip the Georgia Senate seat, and I think we can, and I think we've got a good candidate running against Jon Ossoff and Mike Collins. I've met Mike before. He's a great guy. He made his living and built a successful business in the trucking industry down in Georgia. The guy is phenomenal. He's a great dude. A strong candidate. He's currently serving in Congress. Very strong candidate. Matter of fact, I think, I could be wrong, but I think in the 2022 election cycle, Mike Collins was not endorsed by Donald Trump. He endorsed, I think, what was his name? Vernon Jones? I'm fairly certain Trump endorsed somebody else, and Mike Collins actually won without Trump's endorsement. Not because Trump and Mike Collins aren't friends. They have a good relationship from what I understand. Mike Collins, a strong candidate in Georgia. If we could flip Georgia's Senate seat, go back to Monday's conversation with Chase. You flip Georgia, you're not losing the Senate. So it's very important. And the overwhelming majority of Georgians already have to show ID to vote. Well, support it. Their new voter registration, their new election laws. Remember, everyone made a big deal. It's Jim Crow 2.0. It's going to suppress turnout. And then what happened? Turnout went through the roof in Georgia. And some of the problems were fixed. Not all of them, but some of them. Like how long it takes to count the mail-in ballots. We got results from Georgia on election night. The final outcome from Georgia on election night 2024, right? Going back, fact of the matter is, doesn't matter if your senator is a Republican or a Democrat. Do your job, right? Do your duty here. Play a role in the process and contact them over the course of the next 2 weeks. Yes, I understand this whole thing might be for show, But you've got to be able to know that you left everything on the field in the middle of this battle as well. Whether or not they represent you ultimately comes down to what they want to do. It's unfortunate. I hate the way it works, but that's just the way it is. But we've got to still play a role every single day in this process. And it's very important that we do so over the course of the next 2 weeks. It's the battle of the century. It is the battle of the century. All right. Now, we have the SAVE Act. I know there was this. I'm not going to get into this one, this Joe Kent story. I know what's going on. I mean, we could all see the whole thing. But I want to know a little bit more before I talk about it. I've met Joe before. He was very, very nice to me when I met him a couple years ago in 2024. I can't comment as to what's going on. I know that he lost his wife in the Middle East. And a couple of years ago, he was pro-striking Iran and said they were a great threat. Now they're not a great threat. And it's not, it just looks a little messy over there. So we're going to let that settle before I start to, do a little commentary on that, just because I want to get a full plate of information before I, kind of judge what's going on. Although I'm pretty sure we could kind of tell what's going on there. So we have that. We're going to do some SAVE Act. Some news about JD Vance. He's the chair of this new anti-fraud task force. Donald Trump named some deputies there in the anti-fraud task force. So we will go down that as well. Hakeem, what's his name?
Dollar-Stowe.
Hakeem Jeffries may be facing a little bit of an internal rebellion from his own caucus in the House. So Hakeem Jeffries in a bit of, I guess, maybe not hot water, maybe a little bit of warm water. So we have that as well. NBC, even the media is looking at this and saying, this SAVE Act thing might be a problem for the Democrats. Anyway, we will get to all that and more. Before we do that, I want to get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms, OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com, Oscar, Foxtrot, PapaFarms.com. OFP Farms has done it again. They are preparing to unveil their most exquisite box yet in honor of America's 250th birthday, and you can pre-order the America 250 box right now at a 20% off discount by using the code America250 at OFPFarms.com. This box features their finest packaging, premium products, alongside custom design elements, ensuring you will not find a more stunning box anywhere else. To pre-order your box, simply scan the QR code that I'm going to pop on your screen right here. It is OFPFarms.com as well as the website. But you can scan the QR code right here on your screen, bottom right-hand portion. OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com. Scan that QR code, and you can get 20% off the America 250 box. The America 250 box, 20% off by using code America250. Or you can get 10% off your entire order. If you use the code Sean, you get 10% off stuff like this. Yeah, Goat Kisses Lip Balm. Goat Kisses Lip Balm. OFPFarms.com. Use that promo code SHAWN for 10% off or 20% off the America 250 box. Promo code America250. So OFPFarms.com, OFPFarms.com.
And yesterday was Corey's birthday.
Yesterday was Corey's birthday.
According to Facebook.
So
everybody give Papa Farms.
Give Papa Farms a
happy birthday to you.
There she goes. We're going to give you Mo just because I know you guys have some withdrawals. So we're going to honk our hedgehogs early, even though we haven't earned it yet. It's okay. A little bit of Monday. It's not Monday. A little bit of Wednesday morning motivation with a little bit of Mo there. And happy belated birthday to Papa OFP Farms, the great Corey.
You got to sing it like me.
The phenomenal beard. No, I don't do that.
You gotta.
I don't do that. I can't do it. Somebody had to do it. You're the chosen one. Somebody had to do it. Somebody had to do it. All right, quick word. Another one from our friends at OFP Farms. Not OFP Farms. We love OFP Farms, though. We love OFP Farms. Armor Colostrum. Tryarmor.com/LFA TV. TRYARMRA.com/LFA TV. Folks, I'm always on the lookout for ways to strengthen my immunity, my gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, and enhance my skin and hair radiance. That is what Colostrum can do for you and more. Armor Colostrum. This stuff is phenomenal, folks. It can help reactivate. Look at this, up to 30% off. Check it out. Tryarmor.com/LFA TV. You can reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow. You can fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism, and you can fuel your fitness, performance, and recovery. Check it out at tryarmor.com/LFATV. That is TRYARMOR.com/LFATV. Tryarmor.com/LFATV for up to 30% off of your first order. Tryarmor.com/LFATV. It's TRYARMOR.com/LFATV. Lima Foxtrot Alpha Tango Victor. Folks, I'm telling you what, also, traveling through the airports, there were a lot of cancellations over the course of the last few days because of all this insane weather that the country had.
Poor Jeremy.
Which, by the way, yeah, poor Jeremy. He got caught up in some of that. But by the way, I saw people like, oh my gosh, it went from 70 degrees to 30 degrees. I've never seen this before. Guys, that's called March. Okay? This whole conversation about all... Let me explain something to you. Okay? To this segment of... There's a segment that kind of is taking two positions at the same time. Now, I'm not denying the existence of weather modification programs and efforts. We know that cloud seeding is real. We know that. Okay? However, there is a difference between cloud seeding, whatever you do up there, trying to put particulates in the air to create clouds, and creating weather systems, like full-blown weather systems, okay? We dealt with this with Hurricane Milton a couple years. Oh, the track it's never happened before. That was bullcrap. It has happened before.
I thought it was the Jews.
It's the Jews. It's man-made. So we have a group of people, though, that say climate change is a hoax. We can't control the climate, but we can create cold fronts? Can't do that. You know me. I'm going to call out nonsense every time I see it. I saw people going, remember when I saw people, this cold front is so abnormal. I mean, it was pretty sharp. You had an Arctic air mass meeting a very warm air mass, but that's what happens when the seasons change. It's a battleground for a few months, and then you go into summer. It drives me nuts. I'm a weather guy. I love the weather. It's one of my favorite hobbies. It was a cold front. It was not an Israeli psyop. It was not HARP. It was not, chemtrails. It was a cold front.
I will tell you, though, God is good. There were tornadoes coming.
They went all around his house.
And they did not come here. God is so good. There was like you could see the hand. He held them back. They went north and then east as soon as it was clear.
Yeah, it's just
God is so good.
There's XY guy, I think, up there. This is good. Instead of a winter storm, they call it a blizzard cyclone bomb. It is true. It's they call it a bomb cyclone because the process, they say this, the systems, they bomb out. You watch the maps and the millibars, they circle up. And so they call it bombogenesis. These are all clickbait, sensationalist terminology, that the weather industry uses for ratings. It is a legitimate process, but bomb cyclone, and it's like, oh wow, you can tell you want it. So anyway, hopefully everybody stayed safe. And where I was going with that was the cancellations, the airports, folks. If you're flying, now, tomorrow, this weekend, next weekend, just do me a favor with these TSA agents, regardless of how you feel about the agency and whether it should exist. Right? It's like, it's not constitutional. We shouldn't have it. It's only here. It doesn't stop attacks. We can have those, discussions. We can. That's not what I'm talking about here. Okay? Just say thank you to these TSA workers. They're currently working and not getting paid. And they don't deserve that. Whether you feel like the agency should exist or not, it does exist. They do work real jobs and they're not getting a paycheck. And I wouldn't want to work without getting a paycheck. Matter of fact, I wouldn't. It's one of those things. They don't deserve this, right? They don't. This is not something that they brought on themselves. Okay, so just thank them if you're in the airports or if you know anybody who's working at TSA that haven't gotten paid in almost a month, right? Just tell them thank you. They could use that because it can't be easy showing up to work every day knowing that the people who are responsible for funding you aren't funding you and you're not getting a paycheck. And a lot of people in this country are living paycheck to paycheck. So please say thank you to your your TSA workers. I don't care if you like the agency, if you don't like the agency, if you think Real ID is going to show up at your doorstep and take you away and hang. It doesn't matter. If you're in the airport and you see these guys, just thank them. Thank them for working without pay because they don't deserve this. Okay? They don't deserve this. All right, let's move on. SAVE Act. SAVE Act debate is now underway. The first vote was the first test vote, they call it. The procedural vote to begin debate started off 51-48. Lisa Murkowski voted against it. I think Tom Tillis voted against it too. Unbelievable. But Collins, McConnell, and it was Collins and McConnell, I guess, voted for it. Tillis and Murkowski voted against it. I can't wait till Tom Tillis is no longer a senator. I can't. He's terrible. By a mostly party line vote, United States Senate voted to begin floor debate on the Save America Act, which would require, among other things, proof of citizenship to register to vote and also present a valid government-issued ID to cast a vote. The motion to begin debate passed 51-48. Trump says this is number one legislative priority. Tom Tillis, who said last week he would vote against proceeding to the bill, missed the vote. Oh, so he just didn't even bother to show up. Didn't even bother to show up. He's still getting paid. He's still collecting money, but didn't even bother to show up. I wish the Senate was like the real world, where if you do a no call, no show, that's it. That was one of my favorite rules when I was in charge of whether or not, like hiring, firing, and all that. When I was running a sales team, if you no call, no showed, there was no warning. You're out. If you can't do the decency and you can't be courteous enough and professional enough to tell someone you're not showing up for your shift, then you don't work there anymore. If you're ducking out of work, you don't deserve to work in that position. Now, I know Tom Tillis is retiring. The fact that this guy didn't even show up is just atrocious. It's abysmal. It's egregious. Lisa Murkowski, 51-48. She votes no. The hell is she voting no for? I ask a question real quick. Listen, Susan Collins in Maine has an excuse. She's a Republican in a blue state. I'm not going to tell you I like Susan Collins. I'm not going to tell you I support Susan Collins. I'm not going to tell you I don't think we could do better than Susan Collins. But at least if someone asks Susan Collins, hey, you're a Republican senator. Why do you vote against the party so often? She could say, because my constituents are Democrats. Okay, you know what? That's a legitimate excuse. Because what is the job of a United States Senator? The job of the United States Senator is to represent the constituents of your state. Now, seeing as how she is a Republican senator in a Democrat state, she does have to represent their best interest. That is her job. Her job is not to be blindly loyal to the party. Right? It's not. A senator is supposed to represent her constituents. Now, her constituents are there's a lot of Democrats in Maine. Lisa Murkowski in Alaska does not have that excuse. There are more polar bears in Alaska than there are Democrats, okay? It's true. Mitch McConnell in Kentucky does not have that excuse. Kentucky's a weird state, though, because they have a Democrat governor, but Republican everything else. Republican senators, mostly Republican congressmen, but a Democrat governor. It's kind of like Vermont. Vermont has like a Republican governor, and so does New Hampshire, but they've got Democrats all over the place. Lisa Murkowski. Lisa Murkowski. You guys in Alaska, gals in Alaska, you got ranked choice voting. She was supposed to be gone. Kelly Shibaka would have gotten that job done, but
I feel like it should be illegal to live in Alaska.
Well, you got to take a train. Yeah. He's got to take a train there. All right. This just brings the bill to the floor for the debate. It did start. It's 51-48. Okay. That was the, now I will say this. If McConnell, who says he opposes the bill, Murkowski opposes the bill, Tillis opposes the bill, nobody else can vote no, or else this thing's dead if it even gets to that final vote. That's number one. Number two, here's a very interesting story I saw. NBC. This is a little interesting. Now, the Democrats fear the mainstream media still. Do we fear the mainstream media anymore? Do we fear the mainstream media? Do we give a damn what they say? right? No. We don't care what they say, right? Mainstream media? We don't care what they say. We know they're always full of crap anyway. So we don't fear the mainstream media. When they write a hit piece about someone like us, our side of the aisle, our movement, we're like, it's just the mainstream media, who cares? But the Democrats do fear the mainstream media. Why? Well, because the mainstream media generally talks to their base. They generally talk to their constituents. CNN doesn't talk to a lot of MAGA people. CNN doesn't get broadcast into the homes of a lot of MAGA people, a lot of Republicans, because they've turned it off because they determined these networks don't have credibility. They're not worth putting on and watching anymore, right? But when you look at Democrats, they fear ABC, CBS, NBC, MS Now, CNN, all these networks, right? The Washington Post, the New York Times, because their constituents still consume that garbage. So NBC is now saying, so many people seem to support voter ID, and yet on Capitol Hill, the opposite seems to be happening in the Senate. That is not the way it is supposed to work at all. The silver lining here with this SAVE Act debate is that millions of Americans are going to see that the people who we are sending to represent us aren't representing us. And not only are they not representing us, they're not even asking for our input. That's the problem. It would be one thing for a bunch of senators who are lukewarm on this bill to come back with polling from their districts and, from their states, right? In terms of the Senate, their statewide representatives. It would be one thing for these senators to come back and say, no, the data says the voters in my state don't want me to vote for this. That's why I oppose the bill. In that case, I could say, I wish I could be mad, but I can't be mad because they're doing what they're supposed to do and representing their voters. The problem is they're not even asking for your input. They don't care. Folks, people like Thomas Massey in the House, Tom Tillis in the Senate, they make it all about themselves. It's the truth. My principles, my thoughts, my opinion. I feel this way. I don't like this. I disagree. I want to do that. It's not about you. You are not there to represent your best interests. You are there to represent the people who sent you there. That's what's going on here with the Save America Act in the Senate right now. And the silver lining of this entire thing is that millions of Americans are finally going to see that what goes on in Washington, D.C. is going on without our consent, without our approval, and without any request for the American people to give input on what's going on because they think they're better than us. They think they know more than us. They think they're smarter than us. Well, it's us who decides whether or not they have a job, and they need to respect that. So yeah, maybe your senators haven't asked you for your input. They should. Give it anyway. Whether or not you think they're going to listen, give your input anyway. It is our job to tell our servants how we want our meal cooked. Tell them today, tomorrow, the next day, over the weekend. Tell them how you want your steak cooked. Tell them that you want them to support the Save America Act. This way you know you did everything in your power to get this legislation passed, and they failed you. You didn't fail yourself. Get used to playing a role in the process. Because I'll tell you what's going to happen. Once you start playing that role in that process, once you start infusing that level of activism into your DNA, it becomes the way you live. You become immersed in it. And yes, it's tiring. It is exhausting. You will get run down. You will get discouraged. You will have bad days. You'll have good days. You'll have so-so days. But you will start to understand what role you can play in this process and how the role that you're playing can contribute to wins. So if your senator now is some deadbeat who's not listening to you, that's fine. The next time they're up, you mount a challenge. Whether you run for office or a friend of yours runs for office, or somebody you've never heard of but you like their platform also runs for office, you can start the process of removing these people and putting in high quality representatives. You got to start somewhere. Why do you think Brennan and I go out, we door knock? We're going to do it again this weekend. Why do you think we do the first show of every month here? And we say, all right, everybody, it's the first show every month. Open up your phones, Google, right? Is there an election in my zip code that I can vote in this month? We got to start taking those baby steps and being activists again. And prepare for what is most likely to happen. What is most likely to, I'm not here to sell you nonsense and trust the plan and everything's going to be okay. It's 5D underwater intergalactic chess. I'm not here to tell you all that stuff. I'm not a hopium dealer. I'm a reality dealer. I'm a truth dealer, okay? And this is the truth. Unfortunately, the Save America Act is probably not going to pass. It's not controversial. I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic so that you don't have these crazy high expectations. And then when it doesn't happen, you're like, what happened here? Okay, just understand that that's what I'm trying to do. Be prepared for the Save America Act not to pass. So in the event of its failed passage, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? Are we going to throw our hands up in frustration and walk the other way, take our ball, go home? What's the point? This sucks anyway. It's all rigged. Nobody's working it. Or are you going to double down? Are you going to dig in? Are you going to get back in the trenches like you did in 2024 and become too big to rig and start the process now? Make the conscious decision right now to drain the swamp ourselves. Donald Trump can't drain the Senate. He's the president. He's in a totally different branch of government. Yes, he can endorse other candidates, fine. But at the end of the day, he's not the one who controls the votes. He's not the one who goes to the polls and votes in any of these states except Florida. You are. So let's go. Take this ball and run with it. Infuse activism into your DNA. Be a force multiplier. I know Dan, he loves to talk about Bongino, 10, 10, and 10. Start with 1, 1, and 1. That's it. Find one friend, send one text message to another friend, and make one post on social media. There are a few thousand of us in here watching this. Watch this. If everybody just texts one friend right now about the Save America Act, or about the link to this stream, you could double the numbers in 30 seconds. I don't care about the numbers of the show. I'm talking about winning. That's what I'm focused on. Winning. Growing our ranks. We're shedding a lot of dead weight over the course of the last couple months. A lot of dead weight is going off by the wayside. It's gone. We have to replace that now with healthy weight. Or else we're going to lose too much weight and we're going to basically be a malnourished movement. You get it? NBC, folks, I went on a tangent. I really want to talk about this. Is wondering, hey, are the only people opposed to voter ID the ones on Capitol Hill? It sure looks like it. We're going to get to that. Look at that tease. We're going to get to that in just a second. Before we do that, I want to get to a word from our friends over at Silent. It is slnt.com/Sean. That's SLNT, Sierra Lima November Tango.com/Sean. Let's face it, guys and gals, you know this. Your phone is a tracking device. Between government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, even those pesky cyber criminals, they are all fighting for a piece of your digital footprint. And the worst part about it is they're not even asking, hey, can we take your data? They're just taking your data. They just take it. That is why Silent exists. They make Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and NFC, near-field communication. No signal means no tracking, no remote access, and no breadcrumbs. It's the same technology that is trusted by special operations teams around the world, used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And right now, that technology is available to you, so you can protect your family, you can protect your freedom, and you can secure your digital footprint. All you got to do is drop your phone in a silent Faraday sleeve, and it's off the grid, completely silent and invisible to the outside world. From their backpacks to their sleeves to their crossbodies, Silent's patented technology gives you control of your privacy. Just visit slnt.com/Sean to get 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. That is Silent, slnt.com/Sean. Protect your rights, secure your data, and stay one step ahead. Silent.com. We haven't said this in a few days. Silence the chaos and go silent today. That's slnt.com/Sean, slnt.com/SHAWN, slnt.com/SHAWN.
The W for winner.
The W is for winner. That's right. The W is for winner. All right, let's get into this. This is very interesting. NBC is floating this question out there, guys. I'm not telling you this is going to make a difference. I'm just telling you this is a pretty significant development. Usually the mainstream media wouldn't even go this far, and I found it significant. It's a good question, and a surprising source for it, too. Did Paramount buy Comcast when we weren't looking? Hilarious. Poll after poll. Who is this now? Ed Morrissey over on Hot Air. He's another great writer. They got some great writers over there. Him, David Strom, they're great writers. Poll after poll has shown for years the vast majority of American voters want requirements to show ID at the polling booth. That support crosses every major demographic, including political affiliations, and has for decades. As requirements for identification apply to more and more activities in public life, including New York City's snow shoveling, Jim Snow 2.0, the arguments against voter ID requirements become more and more inexplicable. Even NBC News has begun to wonder whether the only organized opposition to voter ID is on Capitol Hill. How about it? Look at this. NBC News. On your screen. Wait, let's try that again. On your screen. There it is. Most Americans support requiring a photo ID to vote. Democrats in Congress reject it. Oh, we got a pop-up. Screw your pop-ups. They want me to disable my ad blocker. I'm not going to do it. We're not going to do it. Republicans are aggressively touting a popular provision in their sweeping Save America Act to overhaul elections nationwide, requiring photo identification to vote. It's a policy long opposed by Democrats in Congress, who liken it, along with the bill's proof of citizenship requirement to register to vote, to nefarious Jim Crow-era laws aimed at preventing African Americans from voting. But that message is increasingly falling flat with the American public, including Black voters, as photo IDs are increasingly required for common activities like flying. You know how much trouble I would have got in yesterday in the airport if I saw some, black people and minorities in the gate and be like, how the hell did you get here?
Right.
You don't have ID. I would have got smacked. The hell did you say to me?
Rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Now, I'm not encouraging anyone to go smack a Democrat. I'm not encouraging it. I don't encourage violence. But it makes you want to smack a Democrat, doesn't it? A Pew Research poll in August, this is from the NBC News article. Pew Research poll in August tested a variety of election rules and found that 83% of U.S. adults support requiring all voters to show government-issued photo identification to vote. 83%. Pew Research Center, by the way, not a right-leaning pollster. Just 16% oppose it. That's up from 77% support in a poll from 2012. Support now includes 71% of self-identified Democrats, 83% of independents, and 76% of black voters. And yet Congress, the Senate and the House, are like, this sucks. This is terrible. John Thune said, quote, "It kind of feels like the only Americans not to support voter ID requirements are the Democrats here in Congress." Actually, some of your caucus too, John. NBC News asked more than 24 Democrat lawmakers whether they would accept some kind of photo ID rule to vote. Just one voiced openness to it, Senator John Fetterman. But he is against the entire Save America Act. He's not going to vote for it. At least that's what he said last week. Fetterman said if they really want to have a real conversation and if they align that 83% support showing basic ID, I'm not going to tell 83% of Americans that they're crazy or that they're trying to suppress votes or they're Jim Crow, Fetterman said. Chuck Schumer, the SAVE Act is nothing more than Jim Crow 2.0. It could disenfranchise millions of American citizens. Charles Schumer. I'm going to play this. We played this on Bongino's show yesterday, but just to bring this clip to you. Here's Jamie Raskin. Any women in the chat?
I am.
Any married women in the chat?
Ooh.
Brennan's a married woman. If you're a married woman in the chat and you feel comfortable saying so, that's whatever. I'm not telling you have to do this or we're going to kick you out. If you're a married woman in the chat, let me know. Any married women in the chat? Now, if you're a married man in the chat and you identify as a woman, then we might kick you out. Okay? Any married women in our chat?
Choke.
All right, here we go. Here they go. Couple of married. There you go. Look at these married women. Hey, look at that. A lot of married women in the chat. Look at these. Very good. Did you know you guys are essentially just like, stupid? Did you know that? I'm not saying it. Jamie Raskin said, you're all dumb. Did you know that?
It happens on occasion.
You're all dumb because apparently none of you drive. None of you can fly. None of you have an accurate photo identification. According to Jamie Raskin, you are too stupid. I hope you know I'm just playing with you, by the way. I don't think you're stupid. According to Jamie Raskin, you are too stupid to fix your identification. Watch this.
They've got no program for the country other than disenfranchisement, voter suppression, the SAVE Act, which I think violates the 19th Amendment when you tell American women you bring your driver's license and you bring your birth certificate. And if they don't match, which they won't for 69 million American women, then you need to bring a passport. And half of the people don't have passports, So, just go out and buy an ID. That's a poll tax.
So I didn't say that. By the way, again, I don't think you're stupid. I'm just saying, okay? You're not stupid. You guys are great. That's why you're here. Smart people, very smart. Very smart. Even Nancy Pelosi says she's very smart people. She shut up! Oh, man, I forgot my chattering teeth. I was going to bring these down. But there she is. Now she's going to go off in the corner and throw a tantrum.
Nancy always has to get the last word.
Always has to have the... Shut up! Always has to have the last word, okay? Nancy Pelosi, I spit when I speak. And the SAVE Act is Jim Crow 2.0. So how does it feel to have a Democrat? By the way, I don't think we have many Democrats who watch this show. That's okay. If this falls into the hands of a Democrat married woman, do you agree with Jamie Raskin? Because he's essentially saying that you're too much of an idiot to change your ID. Brennan and I've never done this. I've only been married once. Right? I've never had to change my name or have my wife change her name. We went down to the Social Security office. Not the best experience, but we did it. Got her stuff changed. Her ID changed. Everything's fine. Mm-hmm. Well, how long did it take? 3 weeks to get all your updated stuff?
Yeah, not too long.
Not too long.
Yeah.
Did you have to give blood?
No. Sweat and tears, maybe.
I don't think we even had to pay much.
It did either.
It might have been like
Maybe
an administrative, like a $15 something or other, $15, whatever, for Social Security.
And see, I check a couple of boxes. I'm a married woman, but I'm also a thug.
She's a thug too. But here's the thing. So
and I still did it.
This is not something that's impossible to do. But the Democrats are like, married women, those idiots, they're not going to be able to change their name and go vote. It's a poll test. Shut up, Jamie Raskin. You know what? Where is that? You had that bimbo that he was on with, right, on MS Now? Where is her to say, don't mansplain the ID process to me? I need the pearls.
Women have been getting married and voting for a very long time.
Holy cow.
It's like these people give away how stupid they are all the time.
Well, they're saying now, if there's an ID requirement and you're married and you change your name, that you're not going to be able to...
Most married women have already changed their name. It's like they've already gotten their ID.
Because they've got to do it for other things. Like flying. All right. Here's Dalisto. Dalisto says, oh, we don't need the Save America Act because the Constitution already requires that you have to be a citizen to vote.
Now, the United States Constitution also makes clear that only citizens can vote. That's a constitutional requirement. And states are free to implement that requirement as best they see fit. In New York State, for instance, there are strong voter identification requirements that have been embraced by both Democrats and Republicans. This is a phony issue that Donald Trump is creating.
Okay, let me just say something to Dalisto right there. First of all, because I played that clip yesterday on we played it on the Dan Bongino show when I was filling in. My mom texted me right after hearing that clip because she's very quick to call out nonsense all the time. And let me tell you what she said about that. She said she used to work as a poll worker all the time. She said, I worked for Board of Elections for years. We are not allowed to ask for ID, and if someone showed it to us, we had to ask them to put it away. Dalisto, you calling my mama a liar?
Oh, better not be.
Better not be. She ain't going to have an issue with me. She's going to find them and someone's going to put a rock through his window. She said, we verified voters by comparing signatures, and that is so fraudulent. Yeah, because, yes. New York I lived in New York for 31 years. I've been voting since 2012. I never, ever was asked to show ID. I had to give my name, and I had to sign next to my name on the sheet when I checked into a polling place. Whether it was early, voting early, or voting on election day. I never, ever had to show ID, nor was I asked in the state of New York. That was a crock of sugar honey iced tea. Sugar honey iced tea.
The pearls have been ordered.
Oh, you got the pearls.
Yep,
Very
Bad Moon
good.
can leave me alone now.
Got it.
I'm gonna
B
fight
Hops.
you.
B Hops 1 says, Dalisto be frontin' in the chat. There you go. There it is. Now, I find it interesting that Dalisto himself is allegedly, apparently, on a in a report facing some resistance within his own party. This article is on the Gateway Pundit, obviously a right-leaning website, but they're citing a report from Axios, a left-leaning website. Axios reported that more than 80 Democrat House candidates for 2026 are either non-committal or outright opposed to Dalisto becoming the next Speaker of the House, characterizing the development as a rebellion. Mei Vong, the leading progressive primary challenger to Representative Doris Matsui of California, told Axios last week the Democrat Party and its leadership, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have failed to mobilize meaningful opposition to President Donald Trump's illegal war. And here you ready? By the way, these are leftists. Listen to this talking. These people are leftists. Listen to this talking point, please. The Democrat Party and its leadership, Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, have failed to mobilize meaningful opposition to Trump's illegal war, and their silence as AIPAC and corporations flood congressional primaries with millions of dollars is deafening. That statement could have come from Owen Schroyer, who thinks the cold front was a Jewish psyop.
The Jew.
Woke left, woke right. Good to meet you. These are the Jews. Where are we? Come on. There he is. Thank you.
He's a little late.
He was a little delayed there.
He's a little rusty. Maybe he's a Jew.
No, Chewbacca's not a Jew. It's the Jews.
How would you know? Have you asked him?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Jews.
What did he say? Oh.
Yeah. I have to translate it. All right. Let's take a quick break. Get to a word from our friends over at goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. It's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
I'm sure by now you've heard that silver went up 160% last year, 2025. I bought this silver for $22 an ounce. It's now worth almost $100. And we and experts think that silver is going to get up to about $200 an ounce. Palladium and platinum were stuck at $900 an ounce for like over a year, or in that area. Now they're up over $2,000. Gold is approaching $5,000 an ounce. If you have ever thought about putting some or all of your retirement or nest egg or savings or just buying bullion in precious metals, now's the time to do it. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Go leave your name, your email, and your phone number. Schedule a time to talk to the folks over at Golden Crest Metals. Get your free gold guide today, and make sure you tune in on Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Crest Report, where we dive deep into precious metals, why they're doing what they're doing, and where we expect them to go. It is like insider trading. Nancy Pelosi knows about that. We don't. It's just inside information. It's not even really that. It's called knowledge. Get yours today and get a part of gold, silver, palladium, and platinum and diversify your portfolio today. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
All right, goldencrestmetals.com/LFA, goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Thank you for being a part of the show. We love it. Now, let's pivot to one final thing from Dollar Stowe. Dollar Stowe. That was so funny when he was doing that long speech on the House. Remember the way he was talking to? Oh, yeah. Donald Trump's big, beautiful, ugly bill. He was like getting like sassy. He was getting like into like sassy, like black pastor voice. Yeah. He was like, I don't want to be sporting none of them big, ugly bill.
Hallelujah.
But he was like speaking like this so that he could take more time. I can't even do it for 30 seconds.
No, I would be annoyed.
I'd be
like, sorry, I can't do it.
I can't do it. Someone else take over. He said again in that clip, like, the Constitution says only citizens can vote, so that's it. But we know that illegals are voting. They should not be, because here's what happens. Even if an illegal alien does not physically go to a polling place and vote, if he is in a state where there's mass mail-in balloting, you bet your ass that guy is voting, even if he's not physically voting, right? They put these people's names on the voter rolls. They send them a ballot. It never reaches the voter. It's picked up by some ballot harvester somewhere, filled out in that person's name who shouldn't be on those rolls to begin with because they're not actually eligible to vote in this country because they're illegal and they vote in elections. It's easy, and you can't trace it unless you purge the voter rolls of these people who aren't eligible. We know that illegals are voting because the Democrats have admitted it. They've said, well, we don't want ICE at polling places. Well, why wouldn't you want ICE at polling places if illegals aren't voting? If the Constitution set forth a requirement, that only citizens can vote, and that's enough, then why does ICE being at polling places matter if everyone's just following the law? Because we know that that's not the case. All right. Final little story. I talked about this yesterday, too, over with Bongino, but I think it's important to reiterate one more time. Polling for the Iran, Operation Epic Fury, it's, there's, depending on where you look, you see a couple things, a couple different stories. But when given proper context, and when I say proper context, I'm not talking about framing the narrative and all this, and that's not what I'm trying to do here. But when you take into account how many Americans Iran is responsible for killing in the Middle East, where Donald Trump's position has been over the course of these times, when voters were asked whether they approve of Trump's military strikes on Iran, 51% approved, 41% disapproved. And when they were reminded that Iran has a long track record of hostility towards the United States, their support for the action was even stronger. 57% approved, 33% disapproved. 46% of independents approved and agreed it was necessary, compared to 40% who disagreed. The sample is 1,000 voters between March 2nd and March 9th. Likely voters. Rasmussen found something similar. 61% of likely voters said that based on what they know, The military operation against Iran has been successful so far, including 35% who consider it very successful. 29% don't consider the war successful at all, including 12% who say it's not, well, they say not successful so far, including 12% who says it's not successful at all. This is the problem that we have. And actually, High Rez, the rapper, his name's High Rez on X, said, it's disappointing to see a bunch of people who, during Trump's first term and into, the Biden years, looked at the mainstream media and called out BS nonstop because they were able to see it. And yet they fall now for the same BS or similar BS from other people. It's like you can discern what's true and what's not because of where you're hearing it from, not because of what's being said. And that's the problem. I'm not telling you NBC is a trustworthy source, right? But I think what people have fallen into is, okay, I don't trust them, therefore everything that they say is fake. Fine, because you're usually right. But if NBC News came out and said water is wet, they wouldn't be lying, right? What happened, I think, on the right is the decentralization and democratization of information actually came back to hurt us a little bit. When you deal with people who you think you trust, right? I.e., Candace, Tucker, Schroyer, Megyn Kelly, etc. Some of these people. You're like, oh, they wouldn't lie to me. They call out the fake news all the time. They wouldn't be fake news. And they tell you something and you believe it because of who is saying it, not because of what they're saying or what evidence they're providing. We need a little more discernment these days. It's a lost art. It's about as common as common sense, which means it's very rare and uncommon. Just because a friendly voice says something does not mean you have to trust what they're saying and believe them because of who's saying it. That can play a role into, for example, Dan Bongino says X, Y, and Z. I'm going to say, all right, well, I'm likely to believe Dan Bongino is correct because he has credibility in my book. He usually backs up what he's saying with facts, but, and he's said to do this as well, you can look this up. I will trust but verify. And unfortunately, when it comes to the new media, a lot of people see these friendly voices saying things and they just trust. They don't verify. And that's how we wound up in this situation. I am an eternal skeptic. I got it from the show Ghost Hunters, right? Where they were the only ghost show that used to try and prove what they heard wasn't paranormal before saying it was paranormal. I love doing that. I love saying, oh, I heard all this. I want to find every reason as to why that might not be true so that I can know beyond my own reasonable doubt that what is being said is true. Trust, and do this with me too, guys. Trust, but verify before believing anything is true. Jeremy Harrell is up next.
Hold! You need to honk the horn.
We got him. Let's go. It's Mo time. Yeah. Jeremy Harrell is up next here on rumble.com/LFA TV. Please subscribe to the podcast anywhere you get your podcast by searching for Ungoverned. Please, if you're listening on audio, you're somebody who watched the last couple days of Dan Bongino, says, I love this guy. Come over to LFA TV, hit the follow button, rumble.com/LFA TV, be a part of the LFA family, whether you watch live or later. We greatly appreciate it. Jeremy Harrell is up next here on rumble.com/LFA TV. As President Trump says, we will never give up, we will never give in, and we will never ever surrender. And if all else fails, we will just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Joining the great Michael Patrick Leahy in an hour and on 1210 WPHT from 3 to 6. Jeremy Harrell up next. Thank you for watching and listening. See you tomorrow morning, and thank you for your attention to this matter.